All right, y'all, we are back with another video, and here we go again. Now, before we start, please get out and vote. If you haven't voted yet, please go out and vote. We got to get President Trump back in the White House. We are one day before the election. So I had to check this one out by Devory Darkins. He said early voting has Kamala in trouble before the election. If all of y'all know, Republicans has been going crazy with their early voting. That's something good that we want to hear. But I definitely wanted to check this out. Make sure y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay up to date with everything that's going on. And hopefully tomorrow we get a Donald Trump win, and I cannot wait. We got to get these people out of office. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all these people need to go. Because Donald Trump is he's gonna go in there with RFK. He got Vivek, he got Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, he got a lot of heavy hitters on his team, and we definitely got to get President Trump back in office. We need 4 more years of President Trump, and after that, we need 8 years of J.D. Vance. So like I said, let me know if you agree with that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. Like I said, please hit that like button, and shout out to everybody who always watches the entire video. It really helps the channel out. It helps the video out a lot, and I really appreciate everybody who do that, all right? Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it, and let's see what he got to say.
We're here at the eve of the election.
Yep.
And the early voting data numbers that are coming in are scary to the Democrats and the Kamala Harris campaign. We're also going to talk about the fact that in response, the Trump deranged media, they are now pushing misinformation talking points in order to demoralize, I guess, Republican voters. Why don't we start with probably the biggest story currently right now, which is early voting. And here's Mark Halperin talking about that. Watch.
On the pro-Trump's going to win side, in terms of data, the early vote continues to be a problem in terms of how much of a lead she has and the underperformance of black voters. And let's see tomorrow where we are in Pennsylvania. But I think the delta of the Democratic lead is going to be much smaller than even Democrats said they needed to win Pennsylvania. We'll see. But that's something to watch. In addition, the kind of conventional wisdom amongst Democrats is, and they're buoyed by Ann's poll, is she's posing strong Trumpism. And that undecided, that David Plouffe argued last week, are breaking her way. I think right now, people ask me all the time what's going to happen. I think right now, I continue to believe that for a while, it's not going to be close. Either the makeup of the electorate is going to be 55% female and she's going to win, or it's not and she's going to lose. And that could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be different state to state. I think in 6 or 7 of the states, the electorate will be so strongly women, and so women so strongly for her that she'll win, or not. And that'd be my guess right now, that it's going to be one way or the other.
So I was thinking about it this morning. 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Number one, Roe v. Wade will be the deciding factor of this election. So either the Republicans have massively underestimated the impact of that ruling, or she's just going to lose by a landslide. And the Democrats have underestimated the support for Trump due to their negligence on how they've been handling him as a former president over the past 4 years, and at the same time how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has run this country into the ground. So it remains to be seen, of course. But if we're looking at the numbers, which I'm going to show you here shortly, you're more likely to believe Trump is the one that's going to win here. All right, so let's just take a look at this early voting results.
We got to get out and vote.
Clearly, the Republicans are ahead in Arizona. They're ahead in Georgia. In Michigan, they're slightly behind. Okay. Nevada, they are ahead. Pennsylvania, they are behind. But the thing about Pennsylvania, it's not counting in-person voting. They're only counting mail-in ballots. Now, I like to believe the Republicans are actually ahead, but that remains to be seen, which we're not going to find that out until tomorrow. Now, Wisconsin, Republicans are behind as well, slightly. And the independents are actually outperforming Democrats and Republicans. So the bottom line is this. When we look at the early voting data, this is not where the Democrats want to be. When it comes to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, they actually want to be ahead, and they're not right now. And so that's why Kamala Harris is in some serious trouble, because that usually is the advantage when a Democrat is running for the presidency, is that the early voting, the turnout is significantly more massive if you're comparing it to the Republicans. And it looks like the Republicans learned their lesson from 2020, and now they're showing up in numbers that we haven't seen from the Republican Party in quite some time. All right, so let's take a look at the Electoral College Map based on what we just went over and what some of the predictions could turn out to be and look like on election day when it comes to the Electoral College. Now, clearly Trump is ahead in Nevada. We'll give him that. He's ahead in Arizona. We'll give him that. He's ahead in Georgia and North Carolina. So if we stop right here, he's at 268. She is still at 212. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you guys this map, because there's a couple of scenarios that are frightening in my opinion that I hope we don't experience. Let me knock out that one first. Let's say she wins Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That puts her at what? 266, and that puts Trump at 268. And it leaves New Hampshire as the deciding factor. Okay? So that is a big deal. So if I turn to New Hampshire for Trump, that's 272. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope whoever wins, they win by a landslide, right? Now, there is another scenario, which is fascinating, where she could win Nevada and Trump is at 266 and she's at 272. They say that Nevada is going to take about 4 days to count. And so the reason why I want to show you guys this scenario first is I hope this doesn't happen, but I'd like to talk about it to prepare ourselves mentally, is this scenario right here. We're on election day or the following day, we're sitting at this number here, 266 to 266. We're waiting for Nevada to decide the election. Nobody's really talking about this, but it is a possibility, by the way. All right, scenario number 2. That doesn't happen, right? He wins Nevada, and then all he has to do is pick up one of these states. Let's say Wisconsin, and he's at 282. That's still assuming he wins New Hampshire. Even if I put New Hampshire in the column for Kamala Harris, he's still at 278. All right, so one way or another, I went over this before previously, it really just comes down to, can she sweep the Rust Belt? And if she can, she has a great chance of becoming the next president. If she can't, and she loses one of those states, I mean, the likelihood of him becoming the next president is extremely high. It doesn't matter what happens with Nevada at that point. Now that you guys have kind of heard my opinion about how I see this election.
But that's the reason why I said we got to get out and vote, because at this point, me personally, just seeing all of this, to me, there's no way Kamala Harris is even close. This woman can't talk. She still ain't told nobody her plan. She don't even know what she's going to do. This woman is a liar. She destroyed California. Now she want to destroy the United States. Like I said, they're going to try every trick in the playbook. They are going to try to steal this election. We cannot let that happen. That's why I said at the beginning, if you haven't voted, please get out and vote. We have to get President Trump back in the White House. Because to me, Donald Trump should win this by a landslide. It shouldn't even be close. I still don't agree or believe that this woman is anywhere near close to Donald Trump in the polls. Of course, you're going to get CNN and MSNBC. They're going to put out fake polls to make it seem like Kamala Harris is winning when she's really not. But that's the reason why I say we have to get out and vote. Because like I say, anything can happen. But I mean, can't nobody convince me that this woman is anywhere close to Donald Trump in the polls. She's a liar. It's all on tape. It's like, come on.
Moving forward, because I told you guys, it's only 2 things. 1, the Republicans have massively underestimated Roe v. Wade, and women will blow Trump out of the water. Or 2, the Democrats have massively underestimated Trump's support, the contrast between his administration and Joe Biden, the destruction the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris administration has done on the border and the economy. So, of course, why don't we hear from someone who is Democrat, who was the former campaign manager for Obama, speak to these sentiments? Listen to this.
Okay, what's their biggest concern right now if you're the Harris team? Well, look, I think it's a couple things. The early vote numbers are a little scary, and you and I have been texting back and forth. Republicans didn't do what they did last time. Last time Trump said don't early vote, and so they didn't. Republicans do have an advantage in early vote numbers. When the early vote come in, it's going to look a little bit different than 2020, and that's scary.
Yeah, so if I'm the Democrats, I'm definitely worried. If I'm Kamala Harris, I'm definitely worried, no question, because really what it's going to come down to is the turnout. And are we going to have women turn out in numbers we've never seen before? This is why you're continuing to see these cringe moments from Kamala Harris. Listen, just watch this, please.
Thank you. Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote.
What?
Let's get out the vote. Let's win.
It's just cringe.
All right, let's get to work. 24 hours to go. And
Now, of course, the Democrat Party, they're not ahead and they're not where they want to be. And the reason to that is probably because they truly don't understand how big of a shift has taken place politically in this country, where there's certain demographics that are no longer aligning with the Democratic Party and has now aligned with the Republican Party. And that's why some of the polls may have been missing that particular pieces of information. Listen to this.
Let's recognize what I think a couple of your guests have already said, which is the Trump voter is a different voter today than the Republican voter of 20 years ago. In fact, the Trump voter of today was a Democratic voter of 20 years ago.
Many of them.
And going back to Pennsylvania, if you get those people in the middle of the state, blue-collar jobs, middle-class people to turn out,
right, then
Trump wins. And it's very hard. It's very hard for pollsters to do that because it's new. It's not patterns that you've seen in the past.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's why some of the people don't believe the polls and why they keep missing how much Trump support exists, because it's
that's
hard
why I'm saying Donald Trump has a lot of support. I mean, a lot of support. Nobody even know who Kamala Harris is. Like, if y'all realize anything, she can't really get a lot of people at her rally unless she announced that a celebrity is coming. Just like when she did with the Beyonce thing in Houston, Texas, when 30,000 people came to see Beyonce, but Kamala got on camera afterwards and said, I had 30,000 people that came and see me. No, you did not. Them people came to see Beyonce. You can't even fill up a high school gym. How you going to get 30,000 people to come see you? That's why they rented out that stadium, because everybody knew Beyonce was going to be there and thought she was going to perform, and it was all a lie. She came and spoke for 3 minutes and left. And that's why Kamala got booed and everybody started leaving. Nobody knows who this woman is. She's been in office. Why haven't she done any of these things she says she's going to do? It's like, come on.
to reach people in these rural areas, these working class people. They're working all day long. They don't have time to answer a call from a pollster. I mean, let me ask you, when's the last time you actually spoke to a pollster? I never have.
I haven't either.
I don't believe you have either. Now, let's hear what Vivek Ramaswamy had to say about the election. Watch.
What are you feeling and what are you hearing? So look, Jesse, I'm going to tell it to you like I see it. There's two possibilities here. One is we all have our heads stuck in our algorithmic echo chambers and we're seeing one view of the world. And I'd like to think that's not the case. The other possibility, which I think is going to be the case, is that Trump wins this decisively. And I think he has an opportunity to do something historic, not just win an election, but to actually rebuild the Republican coalition, a multi-ethnic, working-class coalition of voters that have redefined the Republican Party, that does what Reagan last did in the 1980s. That's the last time I think we will have seen this kind of election. So I hope I'm not eating my words 48 hours or 72 hours from now, but I don't think I will be. I think that we're seeing the makings of history right now.
I agree.
And I think it could be the single event that not only wins this election, but unites the country. And that's why I'm encouraging everybody I'm talking to. I was in Pennsylvania. I was at the Penn State-Ohio State game. I was telling people the same thing, is November 5th is not the destination. It is the start line for reviving this country. I think people are hungry for it, and I think we feel pretty good, Jesse.
Yeah, so I firmly agree with him.
That's what I said. Yeah.
I told you there's just two scenarios here. Now, before I go any further, please do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description below, grab yourself some merch, or buy us a cup of coffee. Now, listen, obviously, there are a lot of people looking at these numbers, and it's not looking good for the Democrats. And that's why it has led to the Trump deranged media running misinformation on their platforms about Trump.
That's
and
all
now
they've
they're
been
at
doing.
the point where they're attacking Trump supporters. Yes, I know. Listen to this.
I will ask the question that I think is a fair question to ask.
who raised these people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they were not raised by anybody in my neighborhoods that I grew up, any middle-class neighborhoods that I grew up in. These people were not there. They were not raised. I mean, they weren't.
See, that's the thing. If you don't agree with them, now they want to quit. That's the same thing when Joe Biden called Trump supporters garbage. This is how these people talk. But how he can sit up there and say that, let Donald Trump say who raised those people who support Joe Biden. Oh, they'll be running with it. It'll be on headlines everywhere if Donald Trump said it. But they can say it. They can call Trump supporters Nazis and all of this crap. They can get away with it, but when somebody on the Republican side say something, they try to run with it, just like they did with that lie with Liz Cheney. These people are sick.
The classes I went to growing up in elementary or middle or high school or college, they just weren't there. That wasn't the America I grew up in, where people would laugh at the idea of people of the press getting shot. Like, everybody would like sit around and like, what? What's he talking about? Or
what are you talking about?
Again,
laughing at the Puerto Rican
other
joke.
things, laughing at the Puerto Rican joke.
My God,
that Puerto Ricans are a pile of trash.
Okay, so what's the difference? If you go, Donald Trump didn't say it. It was a comedian that said that. Donald Trump didn't say it. They try to tie what somebody else said to Donald Trump, but yet Joe Biden sit down and call Trump supporter garbage, but they ain't gonna say nothing about that though. I mean, these people are straight hypocrites, especially Joe Scarborough.
Laughing at a 82, 83-year-old man being bludgeoned nearly to death. That's an applause line. That's a laugh.
I can't
line?
wait till Trump wins.
Again,
Oh, I can't wait.
Again, who are these people?
You know what's funny is they give too much credit to Trump. They think Trump is the reason people think this way. That's how out of touch they are. People were already thinking this way before Trump came onto the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what happened. And it's what's going to continue to happen until people like Joe Scarborough wakes up and says, hey, maybe it's not really about Trump. Maybe it's about our messaging. Maybe it's about the fact that the people in Washington are not really doing what they keep saying that they're going to do. And sooner or later, that has consequences.
Yep, it does.
But hey, that takes someone who has some type of emotional maturity, who's able to exercise common sense, of course. And I know Joe Scarborough does not have it. Now, MSNBC was not finished. Now they're attacking Elon Musk. Watch.
But this group of mega donors, bigger donors than we ever have seen, the likes of Elon Musk, who's campaigning more and harder than any business person, who might end up with an official or unofficial role in a Donald Trump administration. What do you think about all this? And what are people telling you?
Well, I think it's really scary territory. You know, we have some billionaires in this country, and if you look at the top 10 donors to Donald Trump, they've given over $1 billion to him.
Just the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, and that was not
Why are they
counting
worried
how
about
much
that?
more Musk has spent. Musk is in Pennsylvania. He thinks because he can do rockets and electric cars that he can figure out how to get people to vote.
Okay, so just a couple things. Number one, misinformation. Okay. If there's anyone who's raised $1 billion in this election cycle, that was
It was
Kamala
the
Harris.
Democrats.
Do we need to remind you? In fact, you know where Trump gets most of his money? Through small donations. $10 here, $10 there, $5 here, $50 here. He's the only candidate in history to literally campaign on small donors. Okay.
Yep.
That doesn't mean he doesn't have big donors, because he does. But if you compare where he gets a bulk of his money compared to Kamala Harris, where she gets bulk of her money.
Yeah, especially when she funded by George Soros and all of them. They the one who raised over $1.5 billion. I'm telling you, these people say anything. Trump, the Reign syndrome runs through their body like crazy.
Different. It's night and day. And that's why she's at $1 billion and he's not. So that's misinformation. Number two, the nerve of that woman to speak on Elon Musk like he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt that maybe he knows what he's doing and you guys don't. Because if you guys knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be in this position to begin with. And Kamala Harris would not be your candidate.
I agree.
So stop it.
Yep.
Now, surprisingly, the attacks don't end. Now they're going to just straight up lies that have been clearly debunked by the media themselves. And you have CNN now pushing the whole Charlottesville hoax again.
Oh,
I think
God.
that we need to remember exactly his words, that words matter, to your point, Jamal. And Scott, you're right. The former president did get hurt, but it's not the first time. Let's remember Charlottesville. Let's remember January 6th. All of those events ended in tragedy. And all of those events were spurred on and inspired by the words that came out of the former president's mouth.
Snopes already debunked that crap. See, this is what they trying to do. They trying to scare people. It's with this scare tactic crap that they trying to do. Now they bringing up that's already been debunked. Oh my God! I hope Scott Jennings. I hope he say something about this.
How did he inspire Charlottesville?
He went out there and said both sides are
That was after
good
the rally.
people.
You said he caused the rally.
Okay. Scott, the words that the former president says, and you know this, you have that skeptical face, but you
yes,
know,
I'm skeptical
you
that he
know
caused
this
Charlottesville.
is true. Yes, I do think he did cause Charlottesville because those people that were
who's causing the rallies on campuses right now?
Those people that were marching.
Who's causing the rallies in the streets of New York?
Let me finish. Those people that were marching in support of one person. They were marching in support of Donald Trump. And they were marching in support of what Donald Trump represents.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, now we know she has a serious case of Trump derangement syndrome. She's too emotional about all of this. She has zero ability to be impartial. She can't even criticize her own party. And then to go to the level of blaming Donald Trump for Charlottesville, the whole fine people hoax that has already been debunked many, many times.
Many times, and they still talking about it.
I just find that to be laughable. And I'm surprised that they didn't step in during that panel and fact check her. Because I guarantee if Scott Jennings had did something in that regard, they would have cut him off and they would have tried to fact check him right then and there. But we know who CNN is, even though they try to act like they are impartial or better than MSNBC. They are all Trump deranged in the end. And they definitely have been running a lot of misinformation campaigns when it comes to Trump. Now, obviously, this is coming from the top. And what I mean by that is former President Obama is running the same lie. Listen to this.
Maybe you're Muslim American or Jewish American, and you are heartbroken and furious about the ongoing bloodshed in the Middle East and worried about the rise of anti-Semitism. Why would you place your faith in somebody who instituted a so-called Muslim ban, who sat down for pleasantries with Holocaust deniers, who said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally?
Now, the only reason why he would go to that level, right? The president who says he stands for unity, respect, would never get into toxic.
Yeah, and then he says, yeah, that's what I finna say. He was like, we got to stop this toxic, how we get into this. And then he bring that right back up again. This Charlottesville, man, this right here is just, I mean, I cannot wait so we can just throw all of this in their face. And Obama know it's a lie. All the stuff that they saying, they know is a lie, but they got to do whatever it takes to try to convince the American people like the American people is dumb or something. We ain't dumb. We see what y'all doing. Barack Obama already had 2 years. Why is he still running around for Kamala Harris?
Rhetoric. Why would he start playing at the level of Donald Trump? Because they're desperate. They know they're not where they need to be. They know they're behind when it comes to early voting. They know that she's a weak candidate.
Yes, here with a handful of hours to go. I mean, she doesn't have to attack Donald Trump, I guess, because she's done it every single day of the campaign since she got into it. It's been a relentlessly negative and relentlessly dishonest campaign. And here at the end, they want credit for trying to be positive and unifying after a week of Republicans are Nazis, Republicans are garbage, Republican women are weak and stupid. So I get it. I understand why they would want to tout this one time that she didn't relentlessly go negative and dishonest against Donald Trump. But to me, the bulk of the campaign is obvious. It is they are betting all their chips on there's just enough people in the country who hate or are willing to fear Donald Trump to win. That's about all they've got.
Try to play the same game that Donald Trump plays. That's a losing strategy for them. That's why it doesn't work. In fact, when they started talking that way, it started to alienate undecided voters and independents. They don't appreciate that type of rhetoric, especially coming from the Democratic Party, who prides themselves on saying this is the party of joy and democracy. All right, so when I look at this election, I see it as a bigger picture thing, which is this. People who don't like Trump to the point where they have Trump derangement syndrome, they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. Full stop. Then people who actually hate Joe Biden, but they don't really have Trump derangement syndrome, even though they don't like Trump, they're going to vote for Trump or third party. They're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. This is why you've seen her lose so many endorsements that a normal Democratic candidate would have gotten.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. And we'll stop it right there. Salute to Devori Darkins. Make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel. Let him know that I sent you. But that's the reason why, because she lost on all these endorsements. And that's the reason why you see her paying all these celebrities to come on stage and endorse her, pretty much because she's paying them. So she's paying these people between $25,000 to $75,000, depending on who it is. Now, if you're talking Beyonce, they probably paying her $100,000 to $200,000 just to come talk for 4 minutes, so she can convince her fans to vote for her. So that's why every single rally you've been seeing Kamala Harris bring out a different celebrity or a rapper or whatever. I've been seeing a rapper that said that I'm not getting into politics, I'm not voting for nobody, and then all of a sudden a week later they at Kamala Harris rally. Why? Because she's offering them money. She's paying them $50,000 to $60,000 just to come talk for 3 or 4 minutes and tell their people that support them to vote for her. It's all a game to this woman. So, I mean, we got to get out and vote. Like I said before, please go out and vote. We got to get President Trump back in office. We got to. That way we can turn this country around. So, like I said, thank you all for watching. Make sure you please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.